So before we actually get into the snake oil portion of this video, let me take a few moments to say to all of you that have been with me for the past 12, 13 years now here at Purgatory IronWorks, those of you guys that have been with me since the earliest days, you've been with me through building the shop, doing this work, working on the video and all that kind of good stuff. You guys have, man, I cannot tell you how much it means to me that you guys have been with me on this particular journey, and this is a real milestone. You know, today I'm going to show you our own Purgatory IronWorks custom forge. Man, how awesome is that? And I am so thankful for you guys being with me all this time. So not to ride you about it, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. So let's get into some snake oil. So guys, you know that we've been working on our own forge for quite some time now, and I've been teaming up with some good friends of mine to bring some designs to a blacksmith forge that really don't exist in the blacksmith world. And it's kind of weird because when I first got my start in blacksmithing in Andersonville, I was going to college at a place called Georgia Southwestern, and we had a glass blowing studio there. And so the glass blowers have used a furnace very similar to what blacksmiths have used, but they have come up with a tremendous number of upgrades, and why it has never carried over to the blacksmith side of things, I do not know. So what we've attempted to do is actually take some of the best features that are involved in the glass blowing furnaces and bring them to a blacksmith's point of view. And man, I am really, really excited to show you guys what we've got. So this is our knife maker's forge. We are going to be working on a larger blacksmith's version, but I'm going to take you around and show you some of the features and why you want this thing in your shop. So let's take a look. So guys, here we are. This is our very own Purgatory IronWorks forge. Now, a couple things that you're going to notice immediately, and let me zoom out just a little bit so you guys can check this out. This entire apparatus is sitting on a very nice cart, which we'll get to here in just a second. But let me walk you around the basics of this forge. Now, right off the bat, you're going to notice that it has a couple of really neat looking things about it. And I want to start, first of all, with the actual chamber. Don't worry, we're going to get to all of it. Because the entire thing has almost been remade from the ground up. So let's start with the inside chamber and actually what this bad boy is made of. So first of all, let me start off talking about kaol wool. Now, for years, the standard blacksmith forge has been made of kaol wool, which is a shredded insulation. And the blanket is good stuff. It's relatively cheap. The only problem is that the fibers have to be sealed or it's a health hazard. It retains heat really well, but the problem with kaol wool is that it's very easily damaged. It's just a pain in the butt if you do a lot of forging, because if you are doing any type of blacksmith work or even knife making, if you like dig it to the side in one piece, you're going to rip the surface of it off, and I just wanted to get away from kaol wool simply because of the durability issue. Now, as far as heat goes, it holds heat very well. It comes up to temperature very quickly, but it's just not durable. And for somebody in a professional setting, having it last longer is more important. So what we tried to do is come up with a forge that was durable and was going to last till the cows come home. And so in order to do that, what we have done is we actually used a castable refractory to make the entire inside of the forge. Check this out. Now the problem is there is so much cool stuff to start with. It's hard for me to know where to start. So first of all, before we get into the actual interior, let's talk about this awesome thing right here. Check out these roller doors. Now if you're like me, I started with an NC tool forge way back in the day, and they're good forges, but lifting that lid back and forth was just always a pain in the butt. So this system actually uses two wheels, and check that out. Now, that may not seem like much for those of you that really have never worked with a gas forge, but being able to very easily take and slide this out of the way is a super, super deal. You don't have to fight it with your tongs. It moves easily. So that's trick number one. Trick number two is I want you to check this out even before we get into the inside. I want you to look at the door right here. Notice that this door is not kaol wool. This is a castable refractory in itself. That means because of the way this interior is cast, you never have metal to fire contact. It's always ceramic to ceramic. So that means that you don't have any of the problems like you do with the other forges with the metal lips peeling away and burning out, which is a pain in the butt. So Before we even get inside, there are two features right there where if you're an experienced smith, you know exactly what that's worth. If you're not, let's tell you, that's worth a lot. But looking on the inside, you can see that instead of the K.O. wool here, you actually have two pieces of castable that is set into here. This stuff is at no point is it less than 1 inch thick. And this stuff is actually cooked out in a kiln, and it is rock hard. This thing is going to last forever and a day. Because of the way that it's poured, it's very resistant to any type of damage, and this is not soft fire brick. This is not something that's going to scratch or scrape up very easily. So this is super tough stuff. Now, one thing I do want to point out is if you'll look right here, you can see just a little bit of that K.O. wool sitting there. Outside of this is actually a K.O. wool lining. So we use both the hard refractory and the K.O. wool to provide our insulation, and it does a really, really good job. The other thing that I want you to notice is that with other forges, a lot of the times if there's any type of front porch, and that's what we call this right here, the issue is the heat when it comes out. This is usually a metal plate, and that warps and just messes all up. So what we've done is we've actually cut out a place to put a regular standard size soft fire brick in here, which can be easily replaced, but it takes the heat a lot better. So again, you don't ever have fire to metal contact. It's all ceramic to ceramic. And if you run a forge for an extended period of time, that is huge. So check it out. That is just so awesome. I cannot tell you how excited I am about just this damn door rolling, because that is super, super stuff. So now that we've got that taken care of, let's take a look at our piping system. So when it comes to gas forges, there's pretty much two questions. Is it going to be what they call a Venturi or atmospheric forge, or will it be blown air? Now, that debate will never, ever, ever be settled. And so for that reason, we offer this forge in both the Venturi version and the blown air version. What we have set up here today is blown air. For me personally, I find blown air to be the best solution in my professional shop, but for a lot of you guys, it may be in a garage or something like that. A Venturi may be a better way to go. And we're not just using any Venturi, we're using the original T-Rex burners that are actually manufactured in Smithfield, Georgia. Whenever you go to the Ron Ryle page and see all that stuff, this is one of the guys that helped build those things. So they are the top of the line burners no matter which way you want to go. But for purposes right now, let me show you our forced air system. So guys, this is our super awesome air system. We have got an industrial grade blower here. We have nice 1.25 inch piping. And let me tell you, the coolest thing about this though, now again, if you're a professional smith and you're experienced with these, one detail that you should immediately pick up on is actually how this thing is mounted. So normally when you have a system like this, you have to have a lot of mounts that go straight to the box to hold in place, because this stuff is pretty heavy. But if you look right here, you can see there's actually one piece that runs down the side of the forge, and there's this one rod. On this rod is a platform with 2 clamps, and I didn't even know this type of clamp existed until some friends of mine showed it to me. But this makes this thing so cool. So one, you can see that I have a screw right here. If I want to remove this entire air system, I undo one screw and this whole thing pulls up and lifts out. It's that easy. You don't have to cut anything loose, and yet it is in there extremely firmly. It's an excellent way to mount these systems. This is an 1.25 inch pipe, so it gives you plenty of air. Of course, we have a ribbon burner that's custom made right here that goes in. But this clamp system is the super awesome deal, simply because it is so durable and it's so clean. Again, if you have maintenance or you're trying to fight a blower, if you're like me, having to try to do a repair on your blower with it attached to the forge is a freaking nightmare. So in this case, you're just able to, one screw, it all comes off, you can go to the table and work on it. Now, when we send you this, it'll actually ship with a regulator. We've got a couple of needle valves and stuff up here. This is just for our testing purposes. But we use a 30 PSI regulator on this bad boy, and that's how it's controlled. Outside of that, it's just extremely well built. I mean, this thing is built like a tank, and that's it. It forces a good amount of air. You've got plenty of air for what you're doing on that end. You won't ever have enough gas to outrun the air blast on this bad boy. Again, clean, simple, easy, and it works. So let's talk about a delicate subject, the back end. So oftentimes in these forges, the back end's always a bit of a problem. If you're making knives and you're actually going to do a forge weld, sometimes you want to plug that guy up. If you're doing longer pieces, you want to have a little bit of space. And sometimes if you're doing really big pieces, you need the whole door off of there. And if you've used standard gas forges that usually have the flat door, man, it is just a pain in the neck. And that is one of the issues that I wanted to address with this forge. And again, I think we have done a brilliant job of solving this issue. I cannot stress again, the biggest pain in the butt has been the fact that when you have these doors that are made out of KO wool, that inevitably there's metal that touches somewhere, and that is the first thing to go. The little clips that hold the KO wool in melt, curl up, the KO wool falls out. It's just a mess. So let me show you how we have addressed that, and I think how we have solved that. All right, folks, here it is, the back door. Now, this is in the fully closed, so if you're doing forge welding or whatnot, this is completely closed up. And a couple things I want you to recognize. One, on the back side, again, we have a front porch that's made out of a fire brick. This, again, allows you to keep all the metal away from that heat. We have a custom cut piece of fire brick that actually completely closes off this back port. And again, if you really start doing forge welding, which this forge is designed to do, you want to be able to close up that box to retain as much heat as possible. And having something that is such a close fit, that is at the same time very easily removable, is, man, I cannot tell you how many times I've wished for something like this. Now here's the other cool thing, and I am super, super proud of this. So if this being the knife maker's forge, very rarely do you ever have to go to the back door. However, if you're trying to experiment a little bit with the back door, you're going to need to be able to actually have a little more room to move. So again, you can see that different from the front, instead of being on a roller, you actually have one set screw up here. So if I want to take this door off to be able to do some bigger stuff, bam, comes right off. And here's something else I want to show you. Now this is pretty awesome. This piece, again, is castable refractory, and if you'll notice, there is a riser. So this isn't just flush against here, allowing a lot of heat to escape. This actually fits in, just like a little jigsaw puzzle. And even with this thing hot, you can actually use some gloves and take this thing off. So, and a couple of twists, and you're right back to where you need to be. These are conveniences that I wish I have had the entirety of my career. And something as simple as this allows you to focus more on your work than fighting your equipment. And I'm going to tell you, this is super, super awesome. Now, this guy is still turned around backwards, and I really want to show you some more stuff from the front. So I need to turn this around. And I know what you're thinking. You know, Trent, hey, you're a big, strong guy. You're just going to lift that whole thing and spin around, right? Well, I'm not going to have to fight it. Check this out. One and two. Now, if you have done any type of forging out of your garage and you don't understand exactly what that means right there, you need to get out of blacksmithing. This cart allows you to move this piece easily inside and out with no hassle whatsoever. Notice that the tank is attached. Everything you need to forge is right there. You could have moved that hot. So one of the things that I was thinking about when we designed this is there's so many folks that actually do this out of their garage. That means that every time they get ready to forge, they have to drag crap out of the garage to the front yard, and it's a pain in the butt. Having this particular system set up like it is, man, it makes it easy. You saw how easy it was for me to drop those guys in there and move this around. I'm telling you, this is pretty super freaking awesome. So let me show you a couple of the other features, and we're going to wind this bad boy up. Now, one last thing I want to show you guys, and again, these are just those little nuances that really make this particular system worth it. So if you're working knives, normally your stock's going to be very short. However, if you've bought a 3-foot piece of steel from New Jersey Steel Baron, having it out here will cause it to fall. Well, check this out. Built into this whole thing is a extension arm. This bad boy slides all the way in and out. You have one nut that locks it in place for just adjustment up and down and in and out. Also, you want to talk about paying attention to detail. Check that out right there. You see those little nubs are in there? These keep the stock from rolling off, especially if you're using round stock, and those little nubs catch it as well. So this goes right back in here. one twist, all together. Guys, how freaking awesome is this thing? Guys, all in all, as I can say that this particular forge has been something I have been wanting to build forever and a day. There's so much else. I mean, from the stainless steel covering and everything else, this is just a super, super awesome forge. It is meant to last. It is meant to be durable. It's good stuff. And I don't think that there's anything comparable to it out there on the market. This is the forge that I use in my shop. And I don't think that if you've been blacksmithing any amount of time at all that you can't say it's got some pretty nice features. So guys, like I said, man, I am so proud to offer this. If you guys are interested in having one of these forges, if you'll look at the link in the description down below, there's an email. We still handle these orders one at a time, one-on-one with everybody. That's all the way we've always liked to do business. So if you're interested in one of these guys, just shoot us an email down below and we'll get with you. These guys are freight shipped to you, and man, they're nice. So guys, again, those of you that have been with me all these years, you know I'm going to take care of you if there's any problems whatsoever. You know, after the sale, we're going to see to you. We believe in this. We use it. So I think you'll enjoy it as much as I have, because I've been geeking out about this thing. So guys, again, thank you all so very much, and look forward to speaking with you. See ya.